that's the water saying, hey, that's one element.
Right.
It isn't just, sort of, I need to back out because it's failure. I like the rerouting thing that you're talking about. There's the relentless. Something that struck me when you just said that was, I think people recognize or look at failure because they're so attached to an outcome. And having maybe open hands to an outcome and being able to recognize a reroute that needs to happen because there's a destination that doesn't have a particular outcome.
Yeah,
I think that is the unbalanced relationship with failure that we have, right? So like, how do you sort of look at failure? And
well, I have a saying: no expectations, no disappointments. So in our game, we in the game of the ocean. We get a lot of forecasts. Mm-hmm. And they're good forecasts. They're beautiful. And you get excited and this is going to be incredible. And it just doesn't happen. And you're like, wow. And then you just all that anticipation and you're just, so you get that roller coaster and you do that a couple thousand times. You start to learn. You're like, let's not quite get so worked up. We always say when you see the whites of the eyes, not before that. Like when you see the eyes, then that it's going to happen. So I think that's something to be honest. I worked with a Korean man in downtown Los Angeles, and he had like these sweatshops where they were making all this like jeans and jackets and all this stuff. And I used to sit with him at the end of every day and kind of try to get words of wisdom. Like, okay, I'm like young, searcher and sit with the the guy, and he came to California from Korea with $38 in his pocket.
Wow.
And within like 5 years had like a multi-million-dollar contracting business, flew his whole family over, and just had his whole, like the kids are all used, go to USC and thing like that. Like
what a story.
Severe, right? So you sit with him and he used to drink Miller Lite. That was his beer of choice at the end of the day. And I'd sit and the most profound thing he ever said to me, which when you think of it seemed a little boring, but he's like, when good times here, don't be too happy, because after the good time, the bad time comes. But when the bad time's here, don't be too sad, because after the bad time, the good time comes again. I'm like, so what? We're just non-emotional. We just stay flat. But there's something to be said about that, that kind of thing. Like, don't be too, just be like, okay, all right, cool. Like it's happening. Oh, it's great. And then, oh yeah, it's great. And then it's like, okay. And then, in big wave riding, we get post-traumatic, so we get these big jolt, high edge, and then you just plummet into the abyss after that. And then you start learning about that, and you start learning how to kind of deal with
regulate
that. Yeah, regulate that thing. Yeah. And that actually just helps you be more prepared, right? So in a way, if you think about it in business, you think about, you get some big gains and then you're going to have some big losses, and then you get some big gains and big losses. And, that's the same, back to that formula where you're going to have, you think maybe it's because you're so smart, that's why you got these big gains. But then you think maybe it's because you're so not smart that you got these big failures, but it couldn't have nothing to do with either one of those. It's just the nature of the way that the energy works. And so I think there's something to be said, because at the end, right, it's not, it won't be about the destination. It'll be about the journey.